They brought in soldiers, they brought in the police, might appear and give testimony. I was shocked for 2 hours that night. Taste, as it were, because we're in the forefront. So, yes, increasingly in a short span of, should I say, 6 years or 5 years, we've had some recurrent sins in Parliament. That isn't good. In Parliament, you disagree, you register your protestation forcefully as it could be, then you walk out. You hold your press conferences as vociferously as you could, as frequently as you could, but you don't practically engage in physical destructions. That is untoward. And so I agree that this inquiry be done, a report be prepared, and recommendations made to guide our work forward.
So on that day, you didn't come with a preconceived mind. You came dressed in fugu. Fugu is a tough fabric. It's a tough attire. You did not come with a preconceived mind.
I had lost a day. I didn't do any work. And government, when you're a government whip, you also whip from outside. They're asking you, Roxanne, why? Why are you allowing yourselves to? We have nominees to vet, so please focus on government business. So mine was to ensure that government business got done. So I'd come in my workaholic, in my normal, ordinary workaholic attire to soldier through the day. I didn't come with it. If I were to have if I'd known that there would have been a fight in the evening, I would have been in another attire. But not fugu. But I came just to get the work done.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think moving forward, as you whip the caucus in line, do you agree that maybe you need to confer also with your whip on the other side, who has been a whip for much longer than you, but lately you seem to see some inconsistencies? Unless there's a definition of what a whip should do, maybe when he comes we'll ask that question.
Yet, Frank and I were university mates too. We're in the same hall, Kisley 4 hall. So we've known each other. We did student politics. So we go back 25 years or more. Or even 30 years, because we all entered university in 97. I did a 3-year program, he did a 4-year program. He read a Greek. And so I completed the year before him. And so we've been close since, and we are here again. Like I told you, what happened that day was also not his decision, not his personal decision. It was a group decision that he implemented. When somebody says, I know, ensure that vetting doesn't happen, he himself was shouting that no vetting. It was a group decision. So these are not situations that you can confer and build consensus. They have departed from that long ago. They made their decision that it won't happen, and so it must not happen willy-nilly. So we confer a lot. As I speak to you, when I leave here, we are going to meet and try and think about other things for tomorrow. But that day, oh no, they were not in the mood. Consensus building had been lost. So.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Majority Chief Whip, was there a discussion regarding the number of people in the room at any point, between at least the leadership of the committee?
If I understand your question regarding members of the committee,
I can clarify.
Yep.
The room was packed. Was there ever a discussion between the leadership of the appointments committee regarding the population of the room, the number of people in the appointments committee room?
For that night, for that period, no. Because people were anxious to get their nominees done, and so they could move. And it was, it was night. So,
Okay.
but
So
there was no such,
discussion. Okay.
there was no such problem.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier on that a decision had been taken by the committee to limit numbers to 10. Given the numbers we observed, did you question the failure to adhere to the number of invitees, number one, and the number of persons allowed into the room on the day?
Yes, if I recall, in the course of the day, chairman kept making the point, especially when nominees were done, when interrogations were completed of a nominee and names were submitted for acknowledgement. Some were so tall. So chairman will remark, but why? Statutorily, we decided that only 10 persons should follow nominees. Now I have over 50 names to acknowledge. So he kept saying, he kept raising that issue that we should ensure that we stick to the numbers a portion at a time. What we didn't insist on getting the names of the invitees, because when you say somebody should bring 10, for that 10, you don't know who and who will be brought. But if we design that, let's know the names of the 10 persons that will be invited, then we'll be enforcing that strictly. That's where I also saw a lacuna, a gap. Let's insist on getting the names of the people to be invited.
Thank you.
It helps.
Honorable Chief Whip, was there a consensus on the committee regarding the number of days between when the list was presented to the House and when the vetting of the nominees was to happen?
Yes, the rules governing the statutory publication inviting memo upon submission of names to the speaker for referral to committees was waived. So if you recall, as soon as the names were released to speaker or remitted to speaker, referral was deemed made to the committee, and the committee met and scheduled vetting. So it was waived.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. Do you recall at what time this incident occurred, the scuffle in the room?
No, Chairman, it should be between, I think it began from about 7:30 to 8 p.m. on Thursday. Yeah, 7:30 to 8 p.m. on Thursday.
Is that to say that by about 8 p.m. the majority leader had come in and had adjourned the sittings of the committee?
I may have to check the videos too, but the scuffle had gone on for about 20 to 30 minutes before majority leader came in. He came in, went back, and came back to restore order and made his pronouncement.
Thank you very much. My final question: was there any point during the proceedings of the committee where there was a discussion with yourself and your counterpart on the minority regarding the length of time and rescheduling, given that at this point you'd taken a decision on how many people you were going to vet that day? As the day was unfolding, and given that you still had a backlog, was there a discussion at any point between yourself and your counterpart or among the leadership to reconsider what could be done for the rest of that day?
If I recall properly, even vetting for Thursday, they were against it. Even vetting for Thursday, they were against it initially. But we had to implore them and for them to appreciate the backlog. So they agreed. But the issue was the number to vet for that day. They were not certain, but they were saying that they won't vet all. And I was saying we had a backlog. So as much as possible, let us vet. Eventually, they came to say that they may agree to 4. And I told chairman that no, we had work to do. So chairman said, a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. So let's proceed with the 4 that they had agreed. They are not in disagreement to vetting. And when we cross the 4, then we can then engage them to add more. Even the 4, we hadn't crossed the 4 when the scaffold happened. So that was all happened.
Thank you. Just to clarify, at the time Honorable Akando came in, how many members had you vetted up until that point?
If I recall, we had done 3 or 4. I need to, because we didn't start early. Something happened in the morning, so we had lost so much time in the day. So we didn't start early. I think we had done 3. Akando was supposed to be the 4th, if I recall.
You said something happened in the morning. Can you tell this committee what really happened?
We had the indication that they were having a caucus meeting. And so they slated 10 a.m. for start. We couldn't. They came to say that they were having a caucus meeting. So when they eventually came for us to start, it was quite past the 10 a.m. or even past 11. Yeah.
Honorable Majority Chief Whip, you are a principal officer in this house.
Yes.
Are you proud of what happened on that day?
Well, not at all. And I take responsibility. So when my punishment came, I took it in good faith. Others disagreed that essentially if punishment were to be meted out, it ought not to be me. But I agree in principle that you need to punish the leaders for what happened. Consensus building failed for that night. If my counterparts were not minded to be insistent on his modus operandi for that day, wouldn't have experienced that. But he insisted. And once they decided to disrupt, raise tables, raise chairs, what can I do? What could I have done? Just to suffer for the punishment. So, but going forward, I believe that that's why I said this work will be a good guide. Whatever recommendations you do will be a good guide going forward. A lot of things ought to be streamlined from now onwards.
You just mentioned that consensus failed. Now, I quite also remember the Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Chair of the Appointment Committee, also confirming what you said, that they have waived, or the committee waived, some of the processes. As soon as the letter comes, it's deemed to. Now, if the 2 members, both minority and majority, has agreed that some of these waivers should be accepted, don't you think that when they came to you and said, well, we're not going to do more than this numbers, you could have also given as a way of accepting the minority side than pushing hard that you want to finish the 8 nominees or the 9 nominees on the same day?
Chairman, there's a reasonableness to everything. And in the primariness of what we do, we are 7 people. We had scheduled people, nominees, from the week before. And there was no fault of theirs that we had the vetting for Wednesday was truncated. It ought not to affect those slated for Thursday. So if committee was adding workload to Thursday's work, those originally slated for Thursday ought to be attended to. Okay. 2, when you want to vary earlier agreed positions, you don't do it with fisticuffs and you don't do it like that. we engage, we judge, and you don't do it to people who have been asked to come and are ready to appear. You don't go and tell them that go back and come tomorrow. It's as if the committee is acting whimsically. So if they had disagreements, it should be about the following day's work for me, not work that had already been programmed. That was why I had a disagreement with them, that we had this program for today. So your insistence that we won't continue is political, nothing other than that. And if I want to agree with you politically, I'll also be damaging myself politically. So I also insisted that we should work. In any case, if you disagree, you walk, you leave us alone. We had quorum to continue with work, but to disrupt it, unacceptable.
Thank you very much, Majority Chief Whip. I think we've had enough of you today. We'll call upon you when the time arises again. And thank you so much for attending upon this committee. You are honorably discharged.
Most grateful, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll take Honorable Samson Ahi. After that, we'll have Mr. George Glory Opeku, who indicated that he's ready.
The evidence I shall give before this committee,
that the evidence I shall give before this committee,
touching the matter in issue, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Samson Ahi, Deputy Minister Designate. Let me use this opportunity to congratulate you for your nomination as a Deputy Minister Designate for Trade and Agribusiness, right? Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Chairman.
Do you want to watch the video, or you've already watched the video and know what we are about?
I have everything in mind. What happened that day?
Okay. We saw a gentleman who looks like you in the video. Can you confirm whether you are the one?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I was around that very day, sitting third seat to where Honorable Dr. Zenato is sitting.
Can you tell this committee what happened on that day, the 30th of January 2025, Thursday?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Monday before Thursday, when the incident happened, Honorable Akando, he's from the Western North region, had told us that he has been scheduled to go through vetting on Thursday at 3 p.m. So our chiefs had come from the Western North. They were put in the hotel because they gave them the time of 3 p.m. We had brought the chiefs to Parliament at 3 o'clock. So around 5 p.m., we hadn't heard anything. So I personally came here to inquire from the chairman and then the chief whip whether or not Akando's vetting was still going to come on. And they confirmed to me that it was going to come on. So I even went back and informed the chiefs, who were getting a little worried because they thought that the vetting would start at 3 p.m. So I went to them and assured them that Akando's vetting was going to come on, even though not at 3 p.m. as earlier planned. So most of us from the Western of MPs were here. So I was sitting down. At a point, the minority side left. And then, as soon as they came back, the minority leaders started confronting the clerk of the committee. And then...
Sorry, is that at a point the minority side left? They left to where?
They left for about, I think, 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
Before they came back.
And then they came back again?
When they were coming back, they were talking. That...
Do you know the exact time that they left and came back? Can you give this committee the exact time?
This should be around 6:30, around 6:37. Around 6:37. So when they came in, they were shouting. It was like a collective thing. They have all agreed that the vetting should not come on because they are tired to them. So they started dismantling the tables and destroying the marks. So at a point, it became like for and against. So the minority group were making sure that the vetting will not come on, and then the majority group, who were also here, were insisting that the vetting should come on. So you will see that Honorable Anodompre will pull the table away, and you have some majority MPs who are trying to also bring it back to make sure that the vetting will go on. This traveled for about, I think, 30 minutes, and everything was in disarray until the, I think, majority leader came in and then restored order and announced that that day the vetting has been postponed to the following day. In all this, the nominee, Honorable Akando, had already taken his seat. Honorable Akando has already taken his seat. If I remember very well, he had even been sworn in before the scaffold started. So in a nutshell, that is what I can say about what happened that day. Thank you.
Sorry, this is just to clarify, Honorable. You said the Honorable member had been sworn in. Did you see it happen, or did you assume he was sworn in?
I think he was sworn in.
But you're not sure?
If I remember very well, he was sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
From our record, he wasn't sworn in. He was about to be sworn in, and the clerk insisted that he wants the chaos to come down before she swears in Honorable Akando. So Akando was not sworn in.
I'm saying that I saw him holding the Bible, something like that.
Yeah, Honorable Member, you said at a point the minority leader left with, is it with the entire minority caucus or the leadership of the appointment committee rather left?
It's a minority leader and his group who left. So when they came in fact, when they left, I thought that they have boycotted the vetting. So I was even making a sign to Akano that this is going to go through quickly. So when they came back, I said, what? These people have come back. So that the group left and came back with that scene.
So did they come back with even additional numbers, or the very group that left were those who came back? Because when we listened to some earlier invitees to this committee, some of them said they even called for reinforcement from the minority caucus, because observing the videos, you could see that most of them were not even part of the appointment committee, but they were here in their numbers. So in the midst of that scaffold, they call for reinforcement. That's why I'm saying that when they left and came back, did they come back with a bigger number than what they had initially?
That is exactly what happened. When they were leaving, I think there were about 5 of them, but they came back with about 9 people. I don't remember the exact number, but there were more than the number that left the meeting room.
Honorable Member, can you confirm that the security that was provided on that day was adequate?
I think nobody thought of what was going to happen, because they have started working peacefully. At a point they left, nobody knew that they were going to return in that chaotic situation. So I won't say that the security arrangement was too relaxed, but suddenly they were taken by surprise by their conduct.
Like an earlier question that I posted to our whip, I'm very sure that if they would like to follow the laid down rules, probably this scene that we saw the other time wouldn't have happened. And I can see that they wouldn't want to walk out, but to distort the process. Going forward, what do you think, as a parliament or the appointment committee, what do you think should happen in future?
You know, I mean, the normal parliamentary practice is that if a group don't support certain course of action, they will register their displeasure and then walk out. But it seems to me that this current minority group, they will not stage a walkout, but they will make sure the place become ungovernable. They make sure that nothing can go on. So I don't think now anybody can prescribe antidote for this type of attitude. So, because, like I've said, the best thing is for them to walk out, but they won't walk out. And they will make sure that you cannot also work. Unless you are asking the security to deal with them if they find themselves in such situations, which I don't want also to recommend that. But I believe that we should sit down and as Parliament try to fashion out some strategies and modalities as to going forward how we conduct business when it comes to such matters.
I'm asking this question because of the fact that, you know, sitting like this is parliamentary sitting because the chairman has the mandate of the speaker. So it is the parliament that is sitting. So if you disrupt, that means even if you are at the chamber and the same attitude is adopted, that means all that we have to do is just to suspend sitting. Can this continue? So is there a way out? I don't know. So that in future, even if it happens in the chamber, what do we do?
You know, we have the Privileges Committee to be responsible for such matters. if he feels strongly that a conduct of a member has disrupted parliamentary proceedings, you can complain on the floor, and if the speaker feels strongly that there is cause for investigation, the speaker will refer the matter to the Privileges Committee, and the Privileges Committee is clothed with all the powers to prefer sanctions to affected members. And so I think we should enforce this, allow Privileges Committee to work effectively. I guess this committee has been formed because you know that as we speak, we don't have the committee in place. But if you have the committee in place, you should refer the matter to the Privileges Committee because they have the powers to prescribe sanctions, punishment to members.
Lastly, would you recommend that in future, the number of people we invite to such vetting activities, we need to reduce it drastically? I know you are also, even officially they've not communicated. Very soon, would you recommend that the chiefs and other people should come in the numbers that they usually follow nominees for vetting?
Do you mean the nominees, the number of nominees, or the supporters?
Let me use the supporters, chiefs and other people that follow nominees for vetting. Because I can also imagine the inconvenience, because some of them were put in hotel for 3 days. And all the inconveniences that come along with it, we recommend that in future, the numbers should be reduced drastically so that it will not put so much burden on nominees.
Yeah, that may be considered. But I don't think the problem was as a result of the number of chiefs who attended upon to support nominees.
This is a follow-up before my main question. Honorable Ahi, from the account that we have received so far, it is quite clear that there was indeed pressure on the committee because of the number of people who had been invited to the vetting. Because the people had come, then the schedule had to change, and they said, no, people have brought chiefs, they have brought these people, and so we must continue. If the people were fewer, I'm sure that pressure would not have been on the various nominees, and they could have contained it to say that, well, we can reschedule it, I can manage this cost. But the cost aspect of keeping people here was part of the pressure which was put on the committee. Don't you think so?
I really don't know why Wednesday vetting didn't come on. I have been with the appointment committee for 19 years. What we normally do is just to program 4 or 5 and get it done. From what I've learned, on Wednesday, Honorable Kofiada, the Transport Minister, Nipe, and then I think the Mutala, Honorable Mutala, were to be vetted on Wednesday. Kofiada, I'm sorry. Were to be vetted on Wednesday. It didn't come on. Before that, they have programmed to vet 5 people on Thursday. So they pushed these 3 nominees to Thursday. And because already they have programmed to vet them on Thursday, their guests have already traveled and they were all in Accra. So, but like I've said, I didn't know what happened, why Wednesday vetting didn't come on. But normally we agree on the number and you just stick to it. Nothing will happen. Because I don't remember ever in my 19 years as a member of the appointment committee running into this such difficulties.
So my main question, did you participate in the commotion which ensued?
If you look through the video, I was sitting down quietly because, I don't have strength to fight. All that I was doing was just to calm people down, allow peace to reign. That was all that I did.
Okay. I don't want to commend you for that because I noticed that you did not participate at all. You were calm. Thank you.
I participated, but not in a violent manner. I had a different way of participating by cooling heads down.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Member, just for the record, are you a member of the Appointments Committee currently?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So that means that on the day in question, you attended as a member of Parliament supporting another member, but not as a member of the committee.
Exactly so. I came in to support Honorable Akando.
Okay. You'd mentioned that you've been a member of the Appointments Committee before. In how many parliaments have you been a member of the Appointments Committee, if you can recall?
5. I joined the Appointment Committee, I think, 2006 till last year, somewhere August, when the new standing orders was adopted.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Just final question is whether the numbers that you observed in terms of the members of Parliament, and the numbers you observed in terms of the visitors in the room, was this more than you have normally observed in the past, or is this the usual practice?
I think the numbers are the same. When we started, we were doing the vetting at Mr. Speaker's conference room. But because of the numbers which could not accommodate the number of people who came to support nominees, that's why we have to move to this current place. So I think people just want to associate with nominees to show solidarity. Chiefs and family members want to just come and support their nominees, and I don't see anything wrong with that, because I'm not sure that is the cause for what happened that very day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable colleague, senior colleague, so in your 19 plus years on this committee, what do you think could have caused this disruption? Especially as you sat here as a participant or as a witness to what happened. What do you think could have caused it? Because I sense there's a certain heightened level of intolerance, and something has changed. Because when we were on the committee in the last parliament, our colleagues were heckled. But that is the limit to which they would go. What do you think has changed?
I think what I can deduce from what happened that day was a minority who has just taken a decision to bring proceedings to an end. And so whatever form they would do to make sure proceedings didn't continue was what they exhibited.
So do you possibly agree to the assertion that then to be forewarned is to be forearmed moving forward with the relationship with the minority? Or after this committee has done its work and the recommendations hopefully taken, we should take it that we are all we've all learned something from this.
Yeah, you see, as members of parliament, the standing orders give us privileges. If you abuse your privilege, you can be sanctioned. And so the only problem now is that the corporates were suspended upon an appeal by our leaders. Mr. Speaker lifted the suspension. Otherwise, I'm sure your recommendation has to be implemented fully. And that's to say that if a member has to be punished, so be it. Just to show that even though you're a member of parliament, you have your limits. You can be tolerated to a certain extent, but if you overdo things, the standing orders that give you that power to, be here as MP can also profess sanctions on you. So we should enforce it. If you enforce our standing orders by putting people on the privilege committee, the subsidiary, what is the name? Privilege committee, they have the mandate to even prescribe dismissal or sanction or reprimand. These are all in the standing orders. And so there's a whole committee. And so I think members should be conversant with that part of the standing orders so that we are not immune from being sanctioned.
Honorable Samson Ahi, I don't have any question for you. You are a witness and you just collaborated your story with others, and so you are honorably discharged. If the committee needs you again, we'll call upon you. Thank you very much for attending upon this committee.
Thank you, Chairman.
Honorable colleagues and members from the media, we'll be taking the video again. We'll invite Honorable Collins Dauda. We've also added Mr. Kweku Asante from Joy FM, whose video all of us have watched. Yeah, so, and then the attorney, the lawyers for Mr. Gregory will have to watch the videos again, after which we'll call Honorable Collins and then Gregory before the third. So can we watch the videos, please?
vetting. It's not happening. I mean, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. We are not vetting. We are not vetting. If we are partisan, we are not vetting. We are not vetting. We are not vetting. You are doing tomorrow. Yes. No. Tomorrow will continue. Tomorrow. We are not going anywhere. We will distract. We will distract. It's not happening. We will beg tomorrow. We will beg tomorrow. We will see that. If you get for you. You are doing it. You miss you. It's not happening. No, it's not happening. Chairman, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening.
The former Deputy Minister for Trade, the former Deputy Trade and Industry Minister clashing. This is literally a clash. This is literally MPs involved in fisticuffs, and they say that the vetting process must not happen. There's heightened security. The Marshal is himself here in a meeting. You can't do Fuku. I don't know. We will do it, but we are not going to. It's a lot of confrontation with a lot of people not willing to do anything. The clerk is trying to organize the space. He's trying to put all the tables together to ensure that things are done appropriately for this vetting to ultimately happen. But the MP say they will not allow that. They try and put things together, and they say that they are not going to allow that. They are not going to allow that. It's a big confrontation. It's a big confrontation. The minority leader himself in the car trying to do this. Honorable Kami Bakwe really confronted and ultimately saying that they are not going to allow that. Well, a lot of violent scenes right here at the appointment committee with the clerk of parliament himself here trying to try and sort things out. There's a table there, as you can see. The table has been just lighted. The chairman himself on his head. Well, the table, the microphones are being destroyed. The microphone has just fallen down. The microphone has just fallen down, and they are being destroyed. Things have literally been destroyed. Public property are being damaged there. Where with this confrontation in the middle of all of this, with a lot of talk about what must happen, and if ultimately this vetting must go on, the NPP are clear in their mind that no vetting should happen today. And you see the leader himself here and insisting that this vetting should not happen. Mahama Yariga there, together with the minority leader, in there trying to have a conversation. We are also trying to get a bite. There's a negotiation happening right in the middle of this vetting process as the leaders try to reach some agreement for the vetting process to continue. Alexander Fenyomakin telling majority leader that they agreed to vet 5. They have vetted 5 persons, and they expect that this process will come to an end and that they will not allow any more persons to be vetted. And there's a lot of confrontation. The majority leader, now as you can see him there in the middle of this situation, trying to very much get things under control, speaking to NPP MPs to try and calm tempers. Mama Ega says he wants things to happen. You can hear Frank Anodon pray, the minority chief.
It's not going to happen.
Not happen. It will not happen today, and that also
necessary. Right. Even the candidate nominees that we didn't agree, we have done it. Kofi Adams was not part of the arrangement. We compromised and did it. We agreed on 4. We have done 5. They should understand. What is this? Why? Look, some of them we spent less than 30 minutes on them. We can't do proper vetting with this short time. They should understand this. Otherwise, it will not happen. It will not happen.
The leader and his chief whip are adding them on this matter. They say it will not happen. He's trying to take the leader out to try and have some conversation outside. Frank Anodon Pray himself saying this will not happen, and then ultimately a decision would have to be taken in terms of what exactly they would have to do next. As they do this, the time is going, it's 10:14 p.m. and the public is out there watching members of parliament in a scuffle, dragging tables, and there's chaos. As you can see, a microphone just raised from the floor. It hit the ground. It has totally been destroyed, and there's a lot more people saying that should not happen. The majority leader currently in dialogue in the middle of the room with the majority and minority leaders and all the other persons. They say this will not happen. This will not happen. Seeing your shot, the microphone that was damaged, it hit the ground, and this all this happening right in the middle of all this. Austin Game trying to calm things, and there's a violence, there's fight. This is literally 2 MPs at each other's net. Honorable Hassan Tampuli together with Roxy Nelson, the Femeko, pushing and pushing, holding each other's clothes as we speak, and their leaders are trying to separate them, and none of them will allow this to happen, and they've been separated as we speak. But this is chaos. This is a lot of very not so nice scenes as the marshals and other persons try to separate the conflict and the confrontation that is currently ongoing here at the appointment committee, where really not so much good scenes. The 9th parliament is starting on not so good scenes so far. A lot of policemen walking in, our policemen are walking in. A lot of policemen from the Parliamentary Protection Unit have now walked in, and they are trying to ensure that there is order and there is calm here ultimately for this process to happen. But this table has become the center of attraction, where MPs pulling and pushing with a lot of confrontation. Pick it. Yeah. This is chaos. Well, as you can see, I mean, this MP says they will not allow these tables to be, the tables are literally being pushed and pushed. Where the NDC MPs trying to rearrange the tables, the MPP MPs are not allowing this to happen. And these are really terrible scenes, as we are seeing in Parliament, with honorable members right at each other's throats, fighting and pushing and pulling tables, saying that this vetting will not happen, that the pushing and pulling is ongoing. This is chaos. This is chaos right here in Parliament. These are reminiscent of some of the scenes we saw when the Speaker of Parliament was elected in the 8th Parliament. But this time around, this is happening at the Appointment Committee of Parliament. A small group of people trying to have some agreement in terms of what exactly they have to do. And there's absolutely no agreement. This is chaotic. This is chaos. The MPs at each other's throat, they say that this will not happen. The vetting process, they will not allow this to happen, and they will push and pull. The police have been beefed up. There's a lot of policemen now in the building where they're trying to sort out the situation and calm things, but it's chaotic. It's really chaotic with all the things that are happening here. Well, it's chaos. The table have been turned. It's chaos. It's chaos. It's chaos. It's chaos. The table have turned. More microphones are falling to the ground and things have been destroyed. The table has broken. broken. The table has been broken with all that we are seeing here. It is obvious that this vetting may not happen. It is obvious that this vetting may not happen with all that is happening, with public property being destroyed and all that is being happening. There's a certain understanding that perhaps this will have to be resolved in another way, and it is clear that this vetting cannot happen with what we are seeing currently here in Parliament. There's chaos, it's chaos, it's chaos. This is chaos. This is chaos. I'm not sure that this is what a lot of members of Parliament envision or envisage, that coming here today, this is what is going to happen, with tables being broken, with a lot of issues still unresolved as members of Parliament try to...
I believe we have all watched to where the distraction occurred. Can we now have the witnesses? Mr. George Glory Opeku. After him, we will have Honorable Collins Dowda.
So he took the oath.
No, he has already taken the oath the last time, so we just want to remind him of the oath that he took. Mr. George, you took the oath last Thursday, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, Friday. And you are reminded of the oath that you took on Friday.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
On Friday, we gave you an opportunity, being a stranger in Parliament on that day. Today you are not a stranger because you've been invited officially to give an account of what happened. But on that fateful day, we assume that you were a stranger. Our first question was why you were here, and maybe I want to repeat myself again as you watch the video. Why were you here on the 30th of January 2025?
My counsel want to come in.
Unfortunately, your counsel did not take an oath. And so your counsel can whisper or advise you.
You are to provide the answers.
No, he says you want to raise an objection. Okay, so, counsel.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, we wish to raise an objection to the evidence that was elicited from our client on Friday. The basis for this objection is that contrary to the standing orders of Parliament, he was not advised of his right to counsel before evidence was taken from him. And the evidence which was taken from him was not just bordering on matters of fact, but it was bordering on matters of law, including his knowledge of the standing orders of Parliament. For us to proceed presently with those pieces of evidence on record would be too prejudicial to his interest. And we respectfully ask that the evidence that has already been admitted be expunged from the record.
Okay, the committee says that we'll start afresh. We'll expunge these Friday's statement from our record. On that note, it means that we'll start afresh. So can you take the oath now, if you don't mind? Yeah.
Let me sit down. Should I stand?
Yes. Say it and say after me.
I, Judge Glory Opeku,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. George Glory Opeku, you have watched the video.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Were you the man who was moving up and down in the video? Did you see yourself in the video?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Can you tell us why you were here on that, the 30th of January 2025?
I was here as a citizen to witness a proceeding of vetting the nominated ministers of state.
Thank you very much. You were here as a citizen to witness a vetting of ministers that were nominated by His Excellency the President. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So it means that you were not invited by any of the nominees?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Were you cleared by our security officers for you to enter the vetting room?
Duly so, sir, Mr. Chairman.
What did he say? Yes, he was duly cleared. Okay, the question again. Were you cleared by security officers other than Marshal or the police to enter the vetting room? Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Follow-up question. What was the nature of what did the security do?
They asked, where are you going? I even asked them, where's the vetting room? They directed me to the room here, without asking any question. I even asked them, where's the floor, where's the room they are vetting the nominee? And they directed me here.
And that was all the security clearance? That was what they
Exactly so.
So you got down here, or you got down at the car park, down, and then you walked up?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you.
Under follow-up, let me find out where the security base was. It at the gate there or just at the entrance of this premises?
From the gate, I passed through a system here, check up a system here, and then I met two policemen here. I asked them, is that the place they are vetting or the vetting is going on? They said yes. They asked me to enter.
Did you pass through Job 600 or just this entrance?
Where is Job 600?
Where we have our offices, that tall structure, that Job 600. At least you can pass through that place and to link here. Or you came directly from that place. There's security down there to check you. I want to find out where exactly.
The complex nature of your place, I can't tell where I passed through. But one thing that I remember clearly is that I request, when I reach the gate, and I request where is the vetting room, they direct me 2-3 stages. And then I met a policeman here, that's at the vetting room. I say yes. And they allowed me in.
A follow-up question. There are two when the vetting is taking place, you have two entrances. You have got this one, and you have got one at the back there. I want you to be clear.
I
Which
use
one?
this place.
This one.
This very one.
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. George Glory Opeko, the Standing Orders of Parliament, Order 6, which is the interpretation part of the orders, page 9. And I want to read. Stranger includes a person other than the president, the vice president, the speaker, the chief justice, a minister, a deputy minister, head of an independent constitutional body, or any other person permitted by the speaker to enter the chamber who is not a member or an officer of parliament. So I want to ask you once again, were you invited by the speaker or any other person to enter into the chamber? The chamber here means the vetting room.
No, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. George, Opeko, Order 288, page 157. Page 157, page 288. A stranger shall not be admitted into the house without authority of the speaker, which may be exercised through the clerk to parliament. I want to ask the question again in reference to this order. Were you given an authority by the speaker through the clerk, or in this instance, the chairman of the appointment committee, to come to the house?
No, Mr. Chairman, but this does not apply to the sitting of the appointment committee. Yeah, you checked the order. There's nothing. And my lawyer is happy to explain further.
What is the name?
George.
George.
Glory.
Mr. Glory, do you know that a committee of parliament is parliament? Do you know that a committee of parliament is parliament? Do you know that, or you don't?
It depends on the context.
So I will read again Order 2882 for you to clarify. A member shall not admit a stranger into any part of the house reserved for members while Parliament is sitting.
Are you clear on that?
Order 2882, Rule 2.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Gloria, it will do you a lot of good if you don't engage in a debate. Just answer the questions honestly, as much as you can. Because a committee of parliament is parliament. It's defined in our standing orders. So you don't know. Say you don't know.
I don't know, Mr. Chairman.
And so, I can understand your confusion, and I want to explain to you. This is also an opportunity to do a little education. Even the main chamber, we have got public gallery. So when the public, they come in, they go and sit in the public gallery. And so the chamber is where the MPs, where they debate. And so when you come to the committee's meeting, you see a place reserved for members of the committee. And you see another place reserved as gallery. And so if you came in, whatever means you used to come in, you should have gone to the public gallery and not come to where the members are. And so where you came to, this door entering here, you were in parliament. Do you agree now? So to assist you, 2882 provides that a member shall not admit a stranger into any part of the house reserved for members while parliament is sitting. So any part of the house reserved for members, and this is part of the house, and this part is reserved for members. And so
my counsel want to come over.
you want your counsel to offer some explanation? Okay, very well.
Thank you, the chair and honorable members. We take the view that the standing orders of parliament distinguish between admission of a stranger into committees and admission of the stranger into the house. For example, order 2 is very clear, whilst 288 deals explicitly with admission of strangers into the house. There are specific provisions on the standing orders, particularly order 266, 2661, 2677, and 271, which deal specifically with the committees. And that's why we've taken the view that the rules that apply to the house do not automatically apply to the committee. This is not to suggest that a committee is not part of parliament, but in the instance where the rules have made a specific provision for the admission of a stranger into the committee, for a committee hearing such as the appointment committee hearing, it would be those provisions that apply.
Counsel, we just want the witness to understand. We are laying the ground rules for him to understand. If you go this tangent, it looks like we'll have to educate you more. When we talk about proceedings of the committee shall be held in private, that's what we are doing now. But where the members of parliament sit is totally different from where the gallery is. That is why when all of them, I mean those who are out there, are not sitting here. This is the sitting of the committee of parliament. Yes, it is public, but we have clearly this designated sitting area for members of parliament, and that's what we want to establish.
Mr. Chairman, we agree with you on that point. The issue we are raising is that the conditions for admission into a committee is different from the conditions for admission into the House. The committee referred to the conditions precedent for admission into the House, which was on the prior approval or authorization from the Speaker. If that provision were to apply, then the chairman of the committee could not even invite someone to a committee hearing. But for public sittings, there is a presumption under Order 266 that it is public, unless the committee decides otherwise. And the committee in this case hadn't decided otherwise. So we are not dealing with the attendance issue at this point, the position within the space, but on the right to come to a public committee hearing. And that's why we took the position that Order 288 does not apply. That's the only limit to our statement.
The rules in this case applies to even here. You quite remember the witnesses that came. We were asking them how many people were invited. And they said 10. Some even went beyond the 10. All because the rule states that before you enter any part of the house, you should have an instructional authority from the Speaker.
Mr. Chairman, we agree, but that was dealing with the House and not any part of Parliament. With respect, the House, even under Order 55, is constituted when the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, or the member presiding is present. And that's why we are drawing that distinction.
So,
we are not denying that the committee can decide to hold private sessions where no one can come without permission. The rules are clear on that. We are not denying that the chairman of the committee can ask anyone in the committee session to leave. We are just saying that when the committee is holding a public hearing, the public does not need further authorization to come to the hearing.
Respectfully, Counsel, I don't think you are right. In the sense that if you want to extend that argument and see public hearing, we are going to say that we are going to suggest that all Ghanaians are invited to the hearing. That is not the intent. The intent is that it is not going to be limited to only members of Parliament. That is what it means by public hearing. Public hearing means that other members of the public will participate in that hearing, but that will be on invitation. And so if you have received an invitation, then you will not be considered as a stranger. And so that is the point that we are trying to establish.
Mr. Chairman, the fact that it's a public hearing, the courts, for example, the Supreme Court, is open to the public. It doesn't mean every Ghanaian citizen will fit into the court. That's not what we are saying. But we are saying that we do not need any authorization to present yourself to say, I want to come and observe proceedings in the Supreme Court. That's the only distinction that we are making. And even for private sittings, that is where the rules specifically require authorization from the chairman before you enter. The rule only limits it to private sittings. And if you permit me, I would refer to Order 2677, which says, if you permit me, I would read, that a person who is not a member of a committee may attend in-camera meetings of the committee subject to the approval of the committee. It is in-camera sessions that you require the prior approval of the committee to attend. That's the submission we are making. And we are making this submission only because it has been suggested that he could not have presented himself for admission to the committee without an invitation. That is a separate question. That's a separate question to where he should be once he's admitted.
Counsel, I think that you are not appreciating the standing orders of Parliament. This House is governed by rules. It's governed by standing orders. And so the standing orders have provided for who is a stranger. And I'm saying that, or we are saying that as a committee, that this person was not invited. And by that fact, he came in here as a stranger. He was not invited. He has admitted it. And further, the point is being made that even though he managed to get himself into the presence of Parliament, he was only entitled to stay at the public gallery and not where he came to. That's the point that we are making.
So let me add this to it. The order that you quoted is with members of Parliament, in respect of members of Parliament. If committee sits,
I'm just clarifying which order.
This one, order 2677. A person who is not a member of a committee may attend in-camera meetings of the committee subject to the approval of the committee. And in that situation, it is the chairman of the committee that may approve. And it is members of Parliament, not those from outside. So that is the standing order.
With respect, the specific provision dealing with members of Parliament is 2676, which says a member who is not a member of the committee. For such members, they do not need prior approval. Under 2676, they may take part in the proceedings of the committee automatically unless the House or the committee concerned determines otherwise. However, so the other situation is any other person who is not a member of Parliament, and we are saying that he fits that category, and in that case, he would require the prior approval. And on the last point about who a stranger is, nothing in the standing orders of Parliament suggests that a stranger cannot come to committee proceedings. The definition of stranger only limits it to a class of persons, and that's the submission that we are making. And if you fall within the class of persons described as a stranger, then you have to use the specific rules on how a stranger should be admitted. That is all we are saying. And when it's a public hearing, a stranger doesn't need prior approval. When it's in camera, the stranger then needs the prior approval of the committee. That's the only submission we are making at this stage. Indeed, there are rules for the removal of a stranger from the committee.
We perfectly agree with you that the rule 7 talks about a private person. Our argument or our question, simply put, is that if you are not a member of Parliament, there are places designated for members of Parliament either to sit during the committee meetings, because committees are open to the public, and whether he agrees that he has violated that rule.
Mr. Chairman, I do agree that during a committee hearing like this, no one can just come and, for example, sit at the table. I agree with that point.
Thank you very much. That's all we are looking for. We don't want any long argument.
No, I only had to raise that point because of the premise to some of the questions that he was not even.
Don't worry, we are not here to witch hunt. We said it from the onset that we are here to. It's a fact-finding committee.
Very well, very well.
Now, honorables, you see, you made me say honorables. Mr. George Opeku Glory, can you tell us on that fateful day what you were doing here in this committee room?
Mr. Chairman, I was here to witness the vetting of a nominee by the GM.
You were here to witness the vetting of nominees, not any specific person. Is that right?
I was particularly interested in Sam George and Okujeto Ablakwa's nomination vetting.
Did you get any invitation from Honorable Sam George or Honorable Okujeto to come and witness their vetting?
No formal